Hey folks, Todd here. Today we're going to install the Husky Liner's OE style fender flares on the Mitsubishi Triton L200. The tools we'll be using for this installation are a ratchet with 10mm socket, a number 2 Phillips head screwdriver, fastener removal tool, scissors, and isopropyl alcohol. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so before we get started, we first need to go ahead and prep our fender flares. I'm going to show you one. We're going to repeat the same process on the other 3 flares. So this edge right here, this is the top edge. This is what's going to be going up against the painted surface of your truck. We need to protect that edge so it doesn't vibrate against the painted surface, and that's what our edge seal is for. So what we're going to do is pull out some edge seal. So the way I like to do this to attach it, it's going to attach to the edge. What I like to do is kind of squeeze it to pull it apart, open it up, and that way I can go over top of the edge and adhere it. Now, before I do that, what I'm going to do is prep this surface on the inside with some isopropyl rubbing alcohol. And that cleans any kind of debris, any kind of residues, manufacturing debris off of the inside of that lip. Now we're going to allow that to dry. I also want to make sure that I pull this off to where it trails off to one side, away from the main part of the edge seal. Once I've got that in place, I can bear down into the adhesive to get it to stick to the edge. And then when I'm holding it, I'm going to peel away protector where I'm holding the edge seal and then bear in so that it sticks. Then work for another length, just enough to where I can still hold it. Peel the adhesive and keep going. We're going to do this all the way along to the other end and then cut it in place. All right, now just repeat the same steps on the other 3 flares. Now, before we install the flares onto the side of the truck, we want to first wash the surface of the truck and thoroughly dry it. We don't want to have any kind of dirt, dust, or residue between the flare and the paint on the truck. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to turn our attention to the inside of the wheel well. Now, this particular truck already had some flares on it before, and we've got those removed. So I'm not going to be able to show you some of the factory components. I'm going to tell you what you're going to run into on factory truck. Now, I would be pulling off a factory mud flap and discarding that. Factory mud flap has already gone from here, so I'm just going to pull off those 3 screws and retain those for later. 10mm. All right, make sure you hold onto those 3 screws. You're going to be using them to install our new flare. Next, when we come up along here, there's going to be 3 locations in the wheel well up top that have factory plastic fasteners. Those fasteners have already been removed, but in order to remove the plastic fasteners, you typically want to use a fastener removal tool. You can also use a flathead screwdriver. Coming down here, 3 more locations where we would have factory fasteners that also would need to come out with a factory removal tool or with a screwdriver. Okay, now also in your kit, you're going to have a couple of brackets that look like this. This one's got a DS stamped into it. That stands for driver's side or the left side of the vehicle. In here, we're also going to have 3 holes in recessed locations and then 2 holes in flat facing locations. The 2 holes here, we're going to install some threaded clips onto them. Now the clips are going to go over top of the flat facing holes. So we're just going to slide that over top. Get that over top of the hole. We're going to do the same with this one here. All right, and next, these 3 recessed holes are going to line up to the holes where we just removed the plastic fasteners. We'll line those up in place and take the provided fasteners, go up through those holes and into the holes in the truck, and then push in on the fastener, and that will lock it in place. All right, I'm going to go ahead and place the insert into the center. All right, and then press it in place. I'll go ahead and work on the other two sides. Okay, next what we're going to do is grab our left front flare. We're on the left front of the vehicle. So we got a sticker that says left front here. Also on the inside of the flare, it is stamped LF right down here. Once we've located that, we're going to go ahead and turn to the truck. The first thing I want to get started is the two provided Phillips head screws. I'll take a Phillips head screwdriver. Okay, so I've got the first two screws started, but I don't have them tightened down yet. Next one I'm going to go ahead and do is take the 3 screws from the factory and put them back into these 3 holes they came out of. Again, we don't want to tighten these down until everything is lined up. But if you start with the bottom, get that one lined up first, the other 2 will be a lot easier. All right, and next we're going to go to the front where the 3 holes are up front. We're going to use the provided fasteners. Those are going to go into the holes, and we're just going to push them in place for right now. Okay, now that we've got everything lined up, we're going to go ahead and start by tightening down these 2 Phillips head screws. Next, I'm going to go ahead and tighten down these 3 using the 10 millimeter. And then we can go ahead and press in these fasteners to set them. All right, let's go ahead and move to the rear flare. Okay, now here we are at the rear fender. Just to say again, make sure you completely wash and thoroughly dry the side of the truck. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to come back here to these fasteners. Now, I don't have all of the fasteners, but there's going to be 5 holding on a factory mud flap. That factory mud flap has to be removed. So you're going to take out 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's actually a 5th one as well. You're going to retain these 3 because they're going to go back into here. And this one is going to go back in just to hold the fender liner in place. So let's go ahead and pull this out. All right, again, we're going to retain these 3 screws to reinstall the fender flare. This one back here is going to come out so that the mud flap can come off, and then we're going to put that back in. Next, we're going to go ahead and move up to, there's 3 locations up here that's going to have factory fasteners. Again, we do not have the factory fasteners, but you'll need to use a fastener removal tool or a flathead screwdriver and pull those 3 out. Then here we've got 1, 2, we're going to skip this one and go to 3. So those 3 plastic fasteners also have to come out. Then we can go ahead and grab our fender flare. Okay, so here is our left rear fender flare. We've got a big sticker, it says left rear. Also down here it's going to have stamped LR. Now we're going to go ahead and take this, face it towards our fender, and I'm going to start with using the plastic fasteners provided in our kit and just set them in place up top here, line them up. That first one's always going to be the most difficult to get lined up. And then we're going to go ahead and do these 2 here. I'm not pushing these in just yet. I want to get everything lined up before I push everything all the way in. We're going to go ahead and line up these 3 holes with the screws we took out originally. All right, now that we got everything lined up, we can go ahead and start by tightening these 3 screws down, and then we'll push all the pins in place. All right, right, and for our push pins, we're going to go ahead and push those in. Right. Okay, now lastly, in our kit, we're going to have a trim tool. So that is for our rubber trim that goes between the paint and the flare. So what you want to do is take a look and see if anything looks like it's curled under. If it is, what we're going to do is take the hook side of it and go in and then pull it, and that will pull everything straight. If this edge right here going to the flare is not, if that looks like it's curled under, we can use this side of it and bring that out straight. Well, that concludes the installation. Now my truck looks great and I've got extended coverage over my tires.